Okay. And then I want you guys to write down what are those things costing you financially. Okay. And then finally, what are the new beliefs? Okay. Some of you won't be able to write all those steps out. You'll be able to write some of the problems, but your homework after this call is to also write out what is the new belief that you're manifesting. For example, if your thing is, hey, I'm struggling with anxiety and it's stopping me from knocking doors. What is it costing me? It's costing me about 10,000 or, let's say $2,000 a day. You can do our playbook to get that exact number. If you're wondering how to get that number, a playbook, you'll know the exact number. Okay. And then what is the new belief? Okay. For example, in that case, it would be, you know, anxiety is a choice in a sense, and the anxiety is always going to be there no matter what. It's not about avoiding it. It's about not necessarily pushing through it, but just knocking your first door, right? So the new belief could be knock the first door, get the momentum going. Okay, not the best example, but I want you guys to write down the new belief. Okay, this is a system from Tony Robbins. What's holding you back? What's it costing you? What's the new belief? Okay, the new affirmation. And then also the big things, but prior to that, or what are three things that you guys that are stopping you from hitting the next level? Okay. Just want you guys to meditate, think through that. Some of you guys might be able to share some of those things right now or later on in the call. I want to get rolling with some stuff for you guys, okay? And today we're going to be hitting on how to run your sales job like an entrepreneur, okay? So there's nothing special about me, guys. I have just had a lot of proximity with some very high-level entrepreneurs over the last couple of years, okay? And it's intoxicating in a healthy way. And I want to share with you guys, there's a lot of similarities. A lot of this group and a lot of what we do is similar to, I want this community of Excel to be like high level salespeople that run their job like an entrepreneur. Okay. And the irony correlation is if you do, you actually become that entrepreneur, right? Sales is the ultimate gateway for financial freedom and building leadership and building businesses. Okay. Who's familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad? Okay. So you guys know the four levels, right? The four, I guess, ways. They're four. What do they call it? The quadrant of, you have like employee, 1099, small business owner, a big business owner, and then you have investor. Okay. We sometimes, I see in the solar industry, especially all these guys like, oh, I'm running my own thing. I got my own dealer. It's like, dude, whether you are a business owner or a sales rep, okay, to the big boys, it's all the same shit. Nobody cares. In fact, there's less, you should have zero ego if you run your own thing, because sometimes that ego is costing you a lot of money. If you could be working with a mid-sized company and building something that has massive potential, right? And so realize whether you're a big business or a small business owner, or you're a 1099, a self-employed sales rep, okay, you're in the same quadrant. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the move to the next level, you got to get to about 500,000 plus, or at least 250,000. Okay. I always talk about, don't invest in anything, no double digit ROI, nada, especially in sales, until you're making consistently 250,000. And then make it the goal to make 250,000 working at half the time. Delegation. We're going to talk about some of that in this call. Okay. So I want you guys the gist of this call is run your life and your job like an entrepreneur. Okay. You guys have heard Jim Rohn. He says, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So it's all correlated. Okay. Entrepreneurs work on themselves. They have coaches. They go to masterminds. They spend shit ton of money on learning. Okay. It's quadruple digit ROI. It's what my mentor, Chris Crum, said. Nick, don't do real estate. Don't do any of the franchises. Like, you're in quadruple digit territory. You need to invest in yourself, and you'll be able to attract and build as long as you know the vehicle and how to build and do it right. Right. As you become more valuable, Jim Rohn also taught this, right? The marketplace pays you more. So last week, Patrick's on this call. He's the one behind the steering wheel. Big shout out to you, Pat. He closed a ton of deals. He has followed my system and process to a T and checked his ego at the door. It's done everything verbatim. And last week, we closed 12 deals. And in the last 7 days from yesterday, it was 13 deals. Okay. So we made more than the average. Well, I did. Pat didn't, but I made more than the average salary in America in 1 week. Okay. I'm going to share how we do this, how we play as a team, and how we win. Okay. Number one is attract and build a team. Okay. And the first thing I want to hit on is the team doesn't need to be massive. And this is where most guys go wrong. We've probably onboarded 20 people, and we like serious people, we have about 5. We've fired about 10. And then some people that are flakes, I call their shit out and say, you're done, you're out. You can't communicate, you can't be consistent. We're not working together. We're not a fit. And that's okay. You don't need volume of people. You need volume of deals. And what we saw last year, we had 2 of us. We outsold 29 guys in our territory. And if you attract higher level people and say no to the B players, you'll be able to scale. But sometimes we attract the C players just because we want a body and we want to delegate. We've told to recruit and train, right? But sometimes it's to your detriment because you don't become, a recruiter, you become a babysitter. All right. If you attract the wrong type of people, you're getting yourself a chief babysitting officer, CBO position. Okay. So define what an A player is. Okay. And write down what a B player is and a C player. C player is cancer. Okay. They're toxic. Sometimes your heavy hitters and big dogs that think they're hot shit can actually be C players because they're cancerous with their energy, their ego. It corrupts teams. Okay. So be willing to tell them no. This is one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my career is say no more often. I say no so many times. Got tons of ideas, opportunities, connections. I say no all the time. Okay. And it comes back to I've learned to guard my time. It's our most valuable asset more than anything. Okay. So with with attracting, building your team, Travis, welcome. Good to see you. Number one, so a couple things that you can get off your plate. The whole point of building a team is to work more efficient. And it comes back to the assembly line process that Henry Ford invented in early America. Okay. And what 1 or 2 or 3 can do is exponentially greater than what 1 can do. Because one person solely focuses on one activity, they reach maximum output of that activity. Okay. So for example, in the solar industry, we have setters and closers. We call closers consultants. Okay. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Don't call yourself a closer. But we delegate appointment scheduling, and we also now have delegated appointment confirming, okay, and post-sale communication, aka client success. It's not a bad thing to get that off your plate. It's a limiting belief that so many business owners and recruiters and salespeople have. It is good to have hands-on with the client success experience, but as you get better, you will sell more. You'll attract higher level people. You'll produce more volume. You won't have the time to manage all these customers that you have. But you can do it with a team. So build the back end, build the team, okay? Delegate. For a lot of you guys, you can't even entertain doing this until you get $250,000, okay? So until you're there, like you should be laser focused on get $250,000, and then eventually it's get it in half the time, get $250,000 in 6 months. And once you're at that point, it's very easy. It's not even easy. It's your next step. Your biggest no brainer is to invest in human capital, okay? And buying your time back. All right. And okay, so number 2, that's number 1, attract and build your team. Doesn't need to be huge, okay? What 1 or 2 can do is about 10x what, okay, listen to this. What you can do with 3 people is about 10x what you can do by yourself. 10x. Okay. This will also, if you do this right, this will increase referrals. Like right now, our team, like we're playing the long game, okay, with the referrals. We're improving the communication with our install partner for solar. Okay. The client success, generating reviews, all the above. We're playing the long-term game. We're doing things now that we won't reap the reward for in the next 5 months, but we will in the next 5 years. Okay. Those are high leverage activities. Now, it'd be unwise for us to spend all our time doing that. We don't, but we do have portions of our time that we do dedicate towards that. Okay. Number 2 is track inputs and outputs. So KPIs, get obsessed on stats and numbers. The more business seminars I go to, the more high level people, I'm talking billionaires, okay? They are obsessed on numbers, obsessed. Numbers tell all, it's the way you can look at your business and diagnose it like that, okay? Some of these guys are so keen to have over 500 people in their organization, and they can know by 3 o'clock in the afternoon how their day is going and if they need to run an incentive, okay? So be a stat gathering machine. At first, it's going to be monotonous, a little chaotic, right? This is the first thing we do when people hire us as a coach is we go through their stats, where they've been, where they're at currently, and where they want to go. And so many of us don't even have those outlined clearly, the roadmap, okay? So understand where you've been and then where you want to go, because that gives you framing and perspective to your goals. Right? If you tell me, hey, Nick, my goal is to make 750,000, I'm like, well, that depends. I don't know what to think of that until I know where you're at. If you're at 500,000, that's a solid goal. If you're at sub 150K, you're an idiot, right? So you got to have perspective. So KPIs last week, for example, we closed 12 deals, okay, 13 including yesterday. So, but last week we had 424 doors knocked, 26 outbound calls. We spoke to 76 decision makers. We set 26 appointments. I had 15 presentations. I closed 12. So 80% close rate, 4 referrals, 1 cancel, which is 8.3% attrition. All right. So tell me we track all this shit. That's not accident. Okay. Now I can set targets going to this next week, right? Even though Patrick crushed it, we called him out yesterday saying, bro, if you maintain this pace on average based on statistics, you're not going to get as many sales this week. So we pivoted, made some adjustments in a game plan. Okay. So you got to know your health and your stats. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3 is create time windows for arrival for your clients. I can't stress this enough. It's such an easy tweak. Okay. But you are cornering yourself by telling your client, I'll be there at 5 o'clock. And I know some of you guys think, well, dude, like part of being successful in business is being punctual. Yes. But remember what I taught you, that principle, as you become more valuable, as you grow and develop and you have more success, people see that, they recognize it, they adjust. Okay. Imagine, for example, if, let's say Tony Robbins were to say, hey, like call you and say, hey, I can meet with you. Right. Would you be like, okay, Tony, like I can only do 4 o'clock tomorrow. Like that's all I could do. Like, no, dude, you're going to say whatever time works, Tony. You tell me, bro. You tell me last minute, I'll be there. You guys get what I'm saying? His value transcends the need to be punctual. Okay. And as you keep developing yourself, that will happen for you. This is not even like psychology. This is purely economics and like it's supply and demand. As you become more valuable, the demand of that value, that information that you have is in shorter quantity. And so therefore more people are willing to talk to you. And the law of social proof, okay, bandwagoning, the more success you have, you catch momentum, catch fire, okay? And so allow yourself to build time windows. We've noticed we've done 1 hour windows and 2 hour windows. Our 1 hour windows, this was a good pivot, according to Brock. Thank you, Brock. Shout out to you. We had a higher sit rate with 1 hour windows. With 2 hour windows, it works. We only do 2 hour windows now if we have like triple booking an appointment slot, okay, triple or quadruple booking. That is only for evenings. We don't triple book afternoons, okay? But your most valuable time, like if you divide the amount of people you talk to at night between 5 and 9 in our industry, and the amount of time, like the amount of people you talk to between 1 and 5, you talk to a lot more people and decision makers in the evening. And so therefore you should be more cautious with double, triple booking those windows. Okay. So give them a 1 hour window. And we always say arrival window. And you have to repeat, hey, we could be here at 6 o'clock. We could be here at 6:50, or we could be here somewhere in the middle. And there's a chance, Mr. Prospect, this increases buying temperature when you say this, and it shows natural scarcity, okay, and demand for you. There's a chance that we don't come at all. I just want to be upfront because we are slammed. If we have multiple families get approved back to back, I probably will have to reschedule. In that case, I will text you or call you. Is that okay with you? Perfect. Okay. So this does a lot of things. This will increase your sit rate. This will increase your close rate. You'll go from being a little sales slut trying to convince them to them trying to convince you. All right. All right. So those are the 3 things. You guys can note down on your notes. That is how you make the average US salary in a week. If you follow that and refine that, that's a lot of stuff. Okay. And it's going to take time, but start tracking all the inputs, all your KPIs. And before you build a team, you don't just go hire people. You identify what are things are costing you time. All right. Listen, if you guys, going back to number 1, if you just hire people to hire people, salespeople included, right? Without the intent of freeing up your time to increase your bottom line, your revenue, you're making a mistake. Okay. So know when I hire this job out, how is this going to allow me more time in front of prospects? So if I free up my time and I'm sitting on my ass doing nothing or reading a book, that's not winning. Okay. The bank account's going to plummet and we're going to lose. Okay. So it's to replace that time to get in front of more prospects. Because if we do an analysis on the time you guys are in front of prospects, okay, take the total hours and you take the total amount of money you make and divide it by the hours worked, most of us are making over 300 an hour. So what the hell are we doing? Why aren't we making, 700,000 a year? Do an analysis on your time. Watch your schedule. Look at where it's going. Okay. So I track everything day to day. I start the day with the targets. We've talked about this before. At the end of the day, I review what targets did I hit and I analyze. Okay. This process of setting out what I'm going to do and then reviewing and refining at the end of the day, it builds a muscle and you learn. We're all human. We're going to make so many mistakes. And that's the beauty. That's the point. If you don't refine and reflect, or if you don't review and reflect, you can't refine. Okay. If you don't review and reflect, you can't refine and improve. It doesn't take a lot of time. Okay. And when you review and reflect your day, also set the intention for the next day. Go to bed, waking up. Here's what I'm going to do. Have a game plan. Okay. So again, going back to the team, they should be freeing up time to increase your time in front of prospects. Okay. Quoting Jim Rohn again, there's major time and minor time. Okay. You're in the major leagues or you're in the minor leagues. You're a chump or you're a big dog. Minor time is time taking notes on prospects. It's setting goals. It's updating your calendar. It's doing training videos. Okay. It's following up with prospects. Major time is time in front of qualified prospects, period. How can we decrease minor time and increase major time? Don't major in minor things. Okay. All right. We're going to change gears here a little bit. I want to talk about, and this is relevant, but we have on our course, okay, we have a sales development section and a self-development section. I want to talk about the self-development side of that. Okay. Sales development is increasing your effort, education, and efficiencies. Okay. Our whole model is the E3P3 model. It's 3X of the E's: education, effort, efficiencies. Education, close rate. Effort, how many people you talk to. Efficiencies, decreasing wasted time to increase the amount of people you talk to. CRMs, KPI tracking, all that, okay? Working smarter, not harder. The three pillars, or the foundation that those three pillars are, is self-development, guys, okay? And it's rooted on three things. The three P's are product knowledge, people knowledge, personal knowledge, okay? Personal knowledge, personal development. This doesn't get talked about enough, and this is why I want you guys to get passionate about. When I wear these shirts that say sold on it, this is what it's talking about, or these three foundational pieces, okay? So the first one is product knowledge. So this is the top layer. It's not the biggest, it's the smallest layer, but it's the top, okay? Increasing product knowledge. Get sold before you sell. Now, here's the thing. We face so much rejection. It's psychology that innately we default to negative patterns. It's how our brain is wired. It's for fight or flight. It's literally in your DNA. That means you have to resell yourself consistently, day to day, week to week, month to month, okay? And I'm not talking, we talked about positive affirmations and positive self-talk. That's real. You need to do it. Every high-level person does it. They sound like a fanatic, okay? You got to do that all the time. But also block off time. Your subconscious will think this is bullshit if you just are saying positive mantras to yourself. You won't believe it internally unless there's like reason for it. So I'm constantly researching and relearning, okay, looking for new things that I don't know before. Okay, so block off time every single week, 1 to 2 hours, to research, study, and improve your understanding of your product, your industry, where things are going. It could be to create urgency. It could be about the tax credit changes. It could be about the upcoming election and how it's going to affect solar. It could be on panel technology, right? Maybe you're getting stumped on, hey, I'm waiting for technology to improve. So like, write it out, okay? And identify and work on that. You're looking for 1% improvements, okay? That'll move the needle for you. It's increasing your conviction. Okay, all three of these foundational pieces, guys, the product knowledge, the people knowledge, and the personal, are conviction. Okay. When you have a big why behind you, this is basically AKA the why. All this is like your why for the product, the why for why serving people and helping them, and why you. Okay. Your why, when you communicate from your sense of like your purpose and a deeper understanding of it activates your limbic system, and you speak with more authority and conviction. Okay. And when you speak in that tonality, in that you vibrate at that frequency, it activates other people's limbic system, which gets them in a state of buying and decision making and trust and loyalty. Okay. So that's conviction. That's nothing about a sales tactic or a one-liner. It's personally the energy you put out. So they're taking time every week to invest, to get better in your knowledge, in your product, your industry, your competitors, all of it, okay? To have that, just that vibe about you. People sense that. For some of those you who have seen Michael O'Donnell, he's a perfect example. He's like on crack cocaine with his freaking like product knowledge and industry knowledge. He's always on fire, just oozing out his ears, energy about what's going on in the future of solar, okay? You put him in a court case, he's going to fight like a lion, against the utilities. And most of the times he would win, okay? Number 2 is increase people knowledge. This starts with the superpower, okay? I'm writing about this in my book. Empathy. Write it down, circle it, underline it, guys. Empathy is a superpower. Tony Robbins versus other entrepreneurs, one of the big things that is different with him, okay, and it's not a God-given thing, he's developed it, is he is a master of empathy. He'll cry with people on stage, okay? He has the ability to get personal, feel what they're feeling, see things from their perspective, okay? That's the inside. The outsider's perspective, like a sales trainer, like me or Jeremy Miner would say, hey, see their point of view, right? Or detach yourself from the sale, because when you attach to the sale, you don't communicate as well. That's true. But it starts with the desire. The seed of all of it starts with a desire to improve that human's life. and you go out, delete the sense of making your sale, whatever your outcome is, remove it from your mind. Okay. I manifest this before I go into appointments. I'm there to help this person, whether they need this or not. Okay. And write this down. Good salespeople are problem solvers. Master salespeople are problem finders. Okay. People are not motivated to make a decision until they feel the pain, until the pain of the solution outweighs the pain of the cost. Okay. And a lot of what we do, our sale, what we say, is made on the set. And it's if we could get people to hear us out for like 5 minutes, we'll have their interest. So the game comes down to, how do you buy yourself the 5 minutes, right? And if you're in an appointment, it's how do you get their attention for the first 10 minutes? And so there's a lot of other stuff we have on this, guys. You can watch training videos on telling stories, building pain, urgency, asking questions, okay? Reading people and mirroring them. This is all part of people knowledge. But I'm telling you, the secret weapon is empathy. Look, empathy and rapport is the second layer of that, but it starts with empathy. And also, I want to encourage you guys to be raw and real with people. Okay. Don't put off a facade. You talk about like the hard in your life and connect deeper and try to connect with them. Don't just ask surface level questions. You'll get surface level answers. Ask deeper stuff. Try to understand things at a deeper level. Understand who you're talking to. Everyone has a unique story, and it's a beautiful thing. When you start thinking that way, you're going to win a lot more. Okay. And I want you guys, I want everybody to also, right? Like, this is a target for your week. Walk away. You be the one to tell them they're not going to do this. Okay. Look for the opportunity. We're not going to manifest, but it'll happen, where somebody's not going to be a good fit. And you have the integrity to tell them, don't do this. What's going to happen, whether you call it God, the universe, whatever, okay? For me, it's God, comes back and blesses you tenfold. But let's just say you don't believe in God, you don't believe in any of that, right? Dude, your personal conviction right there is going to skyrocket. And when you go get in front of the next prospect that is qualified, and you tell them, hey, look, I don't tell this to everybody, but this is a good fit. They'll feel the energy. You communicate with authority. I closed a deal on Saturday. This guy's like, Nick, I've literally met with 14 companies. I'm like, yeah, man, I say there was a lot of conviction, but with a lot of humility. Like, I'll be the 15th and I'll get you guys going solar. Right. And sure enough, he signed docs. One of the big things for him was transparency, telling him cons convince. Okay. And teaching in a simple way, using stories and building pain, and short and concise. Okay. But I also understand my product better than 99.9% of the industry. Okay. And understand the product, not how solar works, but I understand the problems and the solutions and how to articulate it and help people digest it. Okay. What we say, people absorb about 20% of what you say. Just we word vomit all over them. Okay. If you watch my interactions with prospects versus most guys, there's way more back and forth. Way more back and forth. Okay. All right. Number 3, increase personal knowledge, AKA personal development. All right. So daily, work on yourself every morning, body and mind. Okay. Those two are daily. Weekly, relationships and finance. Okay. The income, our active income, our sales, our job is the active. The finances, I want you guys to work on the defense and the investing. Okay. Relationships, 1 or 2 times a week. Like, what I mean by that is, like, you're not ignoring the people in your closest in your life, right? Like wife or partner, or but you're blocking off 1 or 2 times a week that are 100% dedicated, multiple hours, date night, whatever, dinner, to that individual and building that relationship. Okay. Health, gym daily. I know I'm preaching the choir. Like, you guys know this. It's a massive advantage. neurologically, emotionally, like endorphins, dopamine, like you have a strategic advantage over every other salesperson if you're hitting the gym daily. And the other thing, we're making a post about this soon, where change your perspective from door knocking to cold calling to getting the extra rep. You know, I know it sucks, but that's why you do it. We're not doing it to look better. Okay, that's the prize. We're doing it because the process and the refinement that comes. When you detach yourself from the prize, guys, the commissions and the good body and all that, the prize will get bigger if you fall in love with the process. And the process is hard, and that's the beauty. Don't try to make it easy. Okay. Everything good in life, okay, is on the other side of hard. Mind, just when it comes to reading, like guys get obsessed with 75 hard, I'm all for it. But rather than set like a 10 pages a day, my thing is learn one new thing every day and do it in the morning. So I have a podcast where we talked about this, where I win the day every day. Like I show up to meetings, appointments, like my cup's filled, right? I'm not pouring from an empty cup. A lot of salespeople are already drained mentally, emotionally, physically. They got nothing to give, right? So when guys get objections and stuff, they're like, dude, like there's, you can see their stress. And then they come off as salesy, needy, desperate, which is a massive turnoff. Fill your cup, be good internally. It's not external, it's an internal thing, okay? And this is something that I am even refining myself, guys. I'm not perfect. I still have limiting beliefs that I'm refining right now, okay? And I take time out and I change my perspective from trying to avoid it to now I look forward to it. I look forward to those moments I have anxiety because my body's trying to tell me something, okay? All right, so that's those. And then the other thing too, so that's working on yourself daily, and then there's weekly, right? And then you have time. I want you guys to work on the business. Let me explain working on the business versus in the business, but I want you to work on the business in the morning. So you work on yourself, you work on the business, you work in the business, okay? And the better you get at your job, the more ability you'll have to work on the business and delegate everything else. So working on the business and in the business. In the business is sales calls, meetings, appointments, okay? Things that you have to do, okay? And working on the business, for example, for me, it's like training videos. It's setting up new SOPs, okay? It's duplicating myself, okay? That's working on the business. So like a recruiting meeting is technically working on the business. But if you recruit the wrong people, it's going to be babysitting. You'll be working in the business still. You won't grow. Okay. But when you work on yourself, hopefully you guys see the correlation. If you work on yourself every day, you will be able to attract higher level people, the A players, so that you can duplicate and scale. You guys following what I'm saying? Okay. I'll open up to questions. I'll turn the recording off. But the last thing I'm going to say on that is work on the business early in the day. Work on yourself, work on the business. Okay. For some of you, you won't be able to do every day. And I've told guys that are like in financial struggles, like you should not be following the schedule I'm on right now. Like I'm in a maintenance schedule of like high performing activity to grow. And it's because I've gone through previous stages of rainmaking to get to this point. If my bank account, okay, was less than $20,000, dude, I ain't going to be running the schedule I'm running. I'm working 9 to 9, basically working until that bank account is higher. Okay. You guys understand? The bank account's higher, or no, you have coming in $100,000 plus coming in the pipeline. But once you get to that point, then it's maintenance mode. So we don't burn out, and that allows you to duplicate and scale. And part of that is working on yourself and then working on the business. All right. If you want to attract B players and C players, okay, Zane Jan can preach from this from personal experience. Sorry to throw him under the bus. But if you want to attract a bunch of B and C players, don't develop yourself personally. But he works on the business. He's so damn good at SOPs. He's so damn good at everything with business and structure. But he attracts a bunch of C players and B players, just siphoning through people, okay? And so developing yourself, you'll be able to attract higher level people, okay? Again, Jim Rohn. you attract by becoming better. This is our whole thing over teaching transformation, guys, over tactics. That's what this is. Okay. All right. We'll end the recording and open up for Q&A. Ash, if you want to hold on, stop.